Hi everybody, it's Elisa Rubio. I want to talk to you guys today about forming. Some of you who have been around for a little bit kind of know what forming is, or you've heard forming. It is an acronym that is used in Beachbody to refer to reconnecting with people, or how to approach new people and to start conversation with people. And it stands for family, occupation, and recreation, and the M stands for message. And so the idea in forming is just that you are reconnecting with people by asking them about non-fitness, non-Beachbody related topics, just to kind of get the juices flowing and to kind of create a rapport, create a comfortable conversation with someone. And inviting and talking to new people is one of the most difficult hurdles to overcome when you first become a new coach, but it does get easier with time. So I want to talk to you guys about the objective that you should have in mind when you form, because it makes a big difference what objective you have in mind. If your objective when you are forming with people is to sell a challenge pack, then that's the wrong objective, and you're going to feel pushy, you're going to feel salesy, and you're going to feel like you have an ulterior motive, because you do. And so if you kind of shift your paradigm a little bit and realize that that is not the objective of forming, then you don't have to feel pushy and fake and salesy, because that's not your objective of this conversation. So I want to talk to you about what your objective should be when you're forming with someone. The number one reason that you should form with 2 or 3 new people a day at least is to reduce your own anxiety about talking to new people. The more that you talk to new people, the more you'll realize, number one, that rejection doesn't hurt as bad as you anticipate that it's going to hurt. If you send out 5 to 10 messages to people that you haven't connected with in a long time per day, and if they're rather cold market, then you would be sending 5 to 10. If they're kind of warm market, you might send 2 or 3. But if you send out those messages, some people are not going to respond to you right away. Some people won't ever respond to you, and once you have especially reached out to your cold market and realized that maybe about 50% or 40% don't even respond at all, you'll realize that they were your cold market anyway, and it doesn't hurt. It's not as painful as you thought it was going to be to get that kind of rejection. In fact, if you never look back to remember who it was you were reaching out to in the first place, you won't necessarily even realize that they never responded. So number one, to reduce your own anxiety, to kind of desensitize yourself to that rejection. And the only way to do that is to get rejected once in a while. And the second reason is to realize that people are actually friendlier than you think they are. You may get people that won't respond, but you're probably not going to get people that are going to say, "Stop messaging me, you creep," and block you from Facebook. And if they are, well, then that person probably has some issues. So it just helps you to kind of realize that, hey, people are friendly and they're willing to talk to me. If you were to get some random message from somebody who just wanted to know what's up in your life since you saw them 10 years ago, you probably would respond to them, and you would probably think that it was flattering that they even thought to ask you how you were. So it helps to reduce your own anxiety. That is a natural feeling surrounding forming. The second reason or objective for forming is to genuinely get to know that individual. What are their interests? What are their hobbies? What are their needs and desires? This conversation is about them. And if you focus on being interested instead of being interesting, then you're going to be carrying on a longer, more intimate conversation with this person, because people love to talk about themselves. So allow them to talk about themselves and be truly, genuinely interested in what they have to say. The third objective of forming is to let this individual know, just let them know, that you are in the business of helping people stay on the wagon. You are in the business of being a professional fitness motivator. The word coach sometimes intimidates people, especially, looking way down the road. If this person that you happen to be forming with has the potential to become a coach, sometimes when people hear the word coach, they think that there's some kind of training, like there's some kind of certification that's involved in that, or you have to have certain qualifications, or you have to have a certain type of body, or a certain level of professionalism or commitment. And so that's a little bit of a scary term, and so I prefer to use the term professional fitness motivator, because that sounds like something just anybody could do. So just let people know that you're in the business of helping people stay on the wagon. There is a huge need for helping people stay on the wagon. That is clearly a need in society. And this can come naturally into the conversation, especially if you're forming the right way, because a lot of times when you ask a question, sometimes they'll fire a similar question back at you. And if they don't, that's fine. Just keep asking them about them. They obviously want to just talk about their own life, and that is fine. But if that conversation comes back to you and that person asks you after you get to and you don't have to do this in order, by the way, it's not family, occupation, recreation, just whatever comes naturally. But if you ask them what they do for a living and they tell you what they do and then they fire it back at you and say, what do you do for a living? Then that is an opportunity, and don't miss that. Don't let that pass you by. Take the opportunity. I used to tell people when they would ask me what I do for a living, I would say, well, I'm a nurse practitioner at the Sleep Institute in Idaho Falls, and I take care of people with sleep apnea, blah, blah, blah. And then as an afterthought, I would sometimes say, oh, and I'm also a Beachbody coach. But I've actually flipped that now. And when people say to me, what do you do for a living? I say, well, my passion is my job as a professional fitness motivator online. I help clients for free to stay on the wagon. And and that usually kind of incites some questions because it's a rather unusual job. And then if they ask you questions, you can continue. But if they don't, then that's fine. At least they know. You turned on the light switch for them. And what that means is that if you open a business, you're not going to want to flip that open sign and then leave the lights off and the door locked. If you want people to come to your business, you want to turn on the lights and put a big sign out there and have some guy in a monkey suit out dancing with a sign out front. You want people to know that you're in business, or no one's going to come through your doors. So tell people that you're in the business of helping people get fit. You're not actually even inviting that person to be one of your challengers. You're not actually asking them to buy any products. You're just telling them that you are in the business of helping people stay on the wagon. That's it. And it can come naturally into the conversation. I want to tell you a quick story about this. I actually have an aunt who has been a Beachbody coach for several years, and I wasn't even aware that she was a Beachbody coach because she didn't actually mention it to me or tell me about it. And so I was a little bit disheartened, as was she probably, to find out after I'd signed up as a coach under someone else that she actually was already coaching. And I felt sad that, she could have just told me that she was coaching. And unfortunately in Beachbody, you can't move coaches once you have signed up with a coach. And so just keep in mind that you never know who that person is going to be, who could really just take this business by storm. And the last thing you want is for them to just go sign up with somebody else who was actually being very forthcoming about their Beachbody business. And then you go, well, gosh, I could have told you I was a coach, but just you're telling people. You want to get the word out there, and you want to do that one person at a time. It's occasionally you can shout it from the rooftops on your wall in an appropriate way, which we'll talk about, but you want each and every individual on your Facebook friend list to know one at a time that you do this for a living. And the fourth reason or objective that I have when I form with people is basically to communicate to that individual that I'm approachable. A lot of the people that I form with, I haven't seen in years or talked to in years, and I maybe didn't even know them all that well back in high school or what have you. And so they are feeling just as nervous and intimidated at approaching me as I feel about approaching them, if not more so. And so if they're watching my posts and they're following my feed, which, by the way, there are many, many people that are watching your feeds that aren't even liking or commenting on your stuff. I can testify to you that there are people that message me that I had reached out to them, and even if they didn't even respond to me. In fact, this happened to me just a couple weeks ago. I had messaged this person in January, and she never responded. She never liked a single post, never commented on a single thing on my page. And only a few weeks ago, she reached back out to me and she said, I want you to know that I've been watching your page, and I'm so sorry I never responded to you before, but I just want you to know that I'm interested in whatever it is you're doing for your health and fitness. And it was a testimony to me that I really, truly feel like if I hadn't sent her that message that she never responded to, if I hadn't sent that message, she wouldn't feel like I was an approachable enough person for her to reach out to me, because we really didn't know each other all that well. So you are communicating to these people that you are an approachable person, and that if they ever want to contact you, you wouldn't think it's weird and creepy for them to send you a message because you sent them a message. So those are the 4 objectives. You want to reduce your own anxiety. You want to start to experience rejection so that it's not so painful or scary to you, and you want to realize how nice people really are. You want to genuinely get to know the person. You want to let everyone know that you're in the business of helping people stay on the wagon. And you want to communicate to the individual that you're an approachable person. And that will serve you, maybe not right away, but perhaps in the future. And you just want to be approachable. And this involves approaching each and every person on your friend list one at a time. And if you have 500, 600 friends and you're adding 4 or 5 friends a day, you may think, I will never get to the end of my friend list. But let me tell you that it is the compound effect. And if you message just a few people a day, you will eventually work your way through that list, and your list will get bigger and bigger and bigger as you add 3 or 4 friends a day, because people, it is the compound effect. It is the slight edge, and let it work for you, not against you. All right. Thanks so much for your time. See you tomorrow.